All right, let's talk about a huge shift in what it takes to build a great career. It's not so much about where you went to school anymore. It's about a whole new kind of fluency. Let's get right into it. For the longest time, the path was pretty clear, right? Go to the right school, get the right degree, and you were basically set for life. But in the world we live in now, the world of tech, you have to wonder, is that piece of paper really the golden ticket it used to be? And the answer? Well, it's pretty short and to the point. Not anymore. And look, this isn't just some small tweak. This is a massive change in how we measure skills and expertise in the workplace. So let's unpack what that really means. So to really get a handle on where we're going, we first have to take a look at where we've been. Let's talk about the old ticket and why it's time to start rethinking what those formal degrees hanging on the wall are actually worth today. This right here really gets to the core of it. On one side, you've got your formal degree. Think of it like a static credential, a snapshot of what you knew at one specific point in time. But on the other side, you have technological fluency. That's a dynamic capability. It's not about what you knew back then, it's about what you can do right now, today. We're talking about a shift from a framed piece of paper to a practical, living skill set. So what's causing this massive shakeup in the job market? Why are the old rules getting tossed out the window? Well, the answer is all around us, in this new digital world we're all a part of. I mean, just think about the pace of change. It's relentless. The technology, the platforms, the tools we rely on for our jobs today might be completely outdated in a couple of years. A degree you got 4 years ago just can't keep up with that. But fluency, that's your ability to ride that wave, to adapt as things change. It's all about learning how to learn over and over again. Okay, so I've been using this word fluency a lot, but what does it actually mean? Because it's not just another buzzword. People are calling it the new literacy, and for good reason. So let's define what this core skill really is. Here we go. It breaks down into 3 parts. First, you have to understand the tech, like the why behind it. Then, you need to be able to adapt when it changes, which it always does. And finally, and this is the most important part, you have to be able to apply it to solve real-world problems. It's an active skill, not just something you know. So who needs this skill? Just the hardcore coders, right? No, not at all. Think about it. A marketer has to understand the algorithms that drive their ads. A designer needs to know the capabilities and limits of the tech they're designing for. A project manager, a CEO, they have to grasp technology to make smart decisions. It's not a niche skill anymore. The real answer is pretty much everyone. Now this brings us to a much deeper level of fluency. To really get good at this, you kind of have to understand how technology thinks at its core. And that means learning to approach problems in a new way. It means learning to think in code. And this quote just nails it. Think about it like this. 100 years ago, literacy was all about reading and writing words. Well, today, there's a new literacy taking shape, and understanding the basic logic of how code works is becoming just as fundamental as understanding grammar. It's what lets you really create and communicate in our digital world. And this difference is so important. Learning to code is about the mechanics, the syntax, the rules of a specific language. But thinking in code, that's about the mindset. It's about being able to break down a big problem into logical steps. It's the difference between being a specialist who just writes the code and being any professional who can use that logical thinking to solve problems in their own field. Okay, so we've looked at the big picture, we've defined our terms, and we've talked about the mindset. But let's bring this all home. What does this actually mean for your career, for your future? And really, it all comes down to this. The key that unlocks the future isn't necessarily the school you went to. It's the languages you can speak. And right now, the most powerful and valuable language on the planet is the language of technology. Being fluent in it doesn't just make you a better worker. It makes you a problem solver, an innovator, and a truly essential part of whatever comes next. And so that brings us to the final question. This is something to really ask yourself. Are you just learning the mechanics, the syntax, or are you developing that deeper mindset, that logical, problem-solving way of thinking? Because the answer to that question could very well decide your place in the future of work. All right, let's talk about a huge shift in